Hi there, how's it going, y'all? So I wanted to talk a little bit about a couple things. First and foremost, I guess, is the current news about the new RoboCop trailer which came out. This is, of course, a remake of the 1987 Paul Verhoeven sci-fi action picture. Peter Weller originally starred as RoboCop, a police officer in Detroit who was shot dead, and his body, or specifically his brain and part of his head, was reconstituted into a cyborg so that he could become an indestructible law enforcement officer. This remake is directed by a guy who I don't really know. Stars a person I don't really know as RoboCop, but has a few other recognizable faces, like Michael Keaton and Samuel Jackson and Gary Oldman. I'm making this sort of as a response to Rambo Wrath for Life, because he had a nice long rant about how this movie shouldn't exist, and that it was just a terrible idea. And I certainly got a taste of what remake dread felt like when Total Recall came out last year. This is scheduled to come out next year. Total Recall was another Paul Verhoeven film. Anyway, So after watching the trailer, there's one aspect of this movie that intrigues me. And this is something that Rambo complained about, and that it was a removal of the tragic element of Murphy having been killed. Because in this version, apparently, he doesn't actually die. He's very, very badly wounded, and so they turn him into RoboCop. But he isn't dead to begin with. He's still himself, really. Whereas in the original RoboCop, he had his memory erased, and he really didn't know who he was until he get flashes of his old life back. Now, since he died, his wife and young son weren't obviously looking for him. They moved on with their lives, and that's not the case with this film. His wife is told what happened to him. His wife is told that he's going to be turned into RoboCop, and so the guy has a chance to continue on a relationship with her and his son, which is not something that happened in the original series. And this, I have to admit, intrigues me. However, every other aspect of this movie is not really something I feel is at all is necessary. I think the original RoboCop is a terrific picture. One of my favorites. It's in my top 10 films of the 80s. It's a fantastic movie, has great writing and acting. It's lots of fun. It has its serious side as well. It's got a satirical side. And the new movie is, looks like so many other, action movies that are made right now. They've redesigned the suit. There isn't a lot to go by just from the 2.5-minute trailer, obviously. There never really is. But yeah, I do kind of wish that they had left this one alone, in much the same way that people of generations, or maybe just at least one generation past, and maybe my generation, which is that there weren't so many 80s and 70s horror movies that have been remade. Remember that scene in Scream 4 where Hayden Panettiere gets a call from the killer, is like, which horror remake? And before he even finishes the question, she starts reeling off like a dozen titles or more of movies that have been remade from the 70s and 80s. And that's happening a lot more with more contemporary stuff now. RoboCop came out in 87, so that's well over 20 years ago, but it's still pretty soon to be doing a remake of the film. So yeah, I'm not happy about it, and I'd like very much for the movie to not exist, but what are you going to do, I will probably end up seeing it just to sort of satisfy my curiosity about aspects of it, but yeah, I've read about The Fly getting a remake, and The Fly was actually already a remake when it came out in '86. This is the David Cronenberg film. And I even read about somebody thinking about remaking Seven, which I really hope never happens. That would be bad. Yeah, so I'm not, it's one of those movies that I just would be like, no, I'd rather it didn't exist, but, it's sort of inevitable, Joss Whedon actually in an interview recently was talking about how, that if he was offered the Boba Fett solo movie, that he would have a hard time turning it down, but there really needs to be more original stories being told, new characters, new stories being told, rather than just, remaking or revisiting a lot of the same old stories and characters that are franchise-worthy, that have name recognition. Because that's really what they're best known for. It's a pretty sold commodity. And when you have, all the major studios that are owned by corporations, they want to, protect their bottom line. They want to make sure that something will be profitable, so name recognition is a safe choice. And it's sad. I'm sure that there are people who are working on these movies that will are passionate about what they do and will do everything they can to, bring new creativity to something that's, a reimagining, but still, it's a sad situation. There have been some great movies that are remakes. Cape Fear by Scorsese is a remake. The Departed is a remake. The Fly, of course, is a remake. There's been a few good ones. And actually, the Bad Lieutenant remake, the Bad Lieutenant came out in '92, and the remake was in 2009. That's less than 20 years, but it was actually a really good movie. I liked it a lot. I liked it more than the original, but it's still sort of a sad state. So a lot of the Rambo Rafterlife, he really enjoys raging at stuff like that. I have one piece of advice for you, Rambo. Start making your videos at a place where you can really scream at the camera, because I know you've got it in you to just like scream and just let it out. That's something I'd like to see. But I don't think I'll be attaching this as a video response to his video, because it just so happens that YouTube is going to be disabling video responses. What is going on with that? Sexy Phil did a video. Philip DeFranco talked about there was some problem with spam. People were spamming video responses, and I'm just like, you know what? If you get spam video response, then just kick it off your video. I mean, what's the big deal? Why disable the entire video response function just because some people don't want to have to be bothered with kicking spam video responses off of their video? I mean, if you're extremely popular, if you're that popular, like Phil or Spricket24 or some of these people that have 100,000 subscribers or more and get thousands of views per video, then you're going to have a few people that are going to be promoting their stuff any way they can by it just sort of comes with the territory. I've had a few people attach videos to mine, and I got the email notification on that, but before I could do anything about it was already gone. I'm like, I just don't understand what the big deal is. Why disable the entire video response function just for this one problem? Maybe there's some other problem I don't know about. I've only just heard about this secondhand from other people. I haven't read or seen any sorts of explanation on why this is being done, anything official. It's all just been through other sources, so I don't know what's going on there. Anyway, I wanted to talk a little bit about what's been going on with me on my channel. For those of you who are watching Puckbond007 and Lunaria Claire, I'm sure you've heard them talk about how their works become a lot more taxing, I guess you could say. They have to spend they spend a lot less time making videos just because the work takes a lot out of them. And I understand that certainly, because in May my job suddenly got a heck of a lot harder, and it's more tiring and just takes a lot more out of me, and it already did in the first place. So I've been less eager to make videos and take the time to make videos on a regular basis, and this has really affected what's been my main project this year, and that is my 1973 series. A lot of you have been requesting videos, requesting that I review titles from 1973 because I asked you to, and a lot of you are probably wondering, hey, where the heck are the videos? Why has there not been any new 1973 videos in like at least 2 months or more? Well, first of all, my camera stopped working, but then I discovered that it simply is a finicky eater. It prefers Duracells to Energizers. So once I stopped giving it Energizers and started feeding it Duracells again, now it's working fine. But I had fallen behind during that time, and then I, was like, well, gee, I need to make at least 3 1973 videos, or 4, because I'm behind. And then that number increased because I kept watching 1973 movies, but didn't make the videos, and so the list just kept growing. It became more and more daunting challenge. And when you take a break from something, you lose momentum, and I sort of lost momentum a lot. I haven't seen as many 1973 movies over the last couple of weeks. I used to want to see like 2 per week, and now it's down to like maybe 1 at best. But I wanted to just talk about some of the ones that I've seen and are going to be reviewing very soon, because if I knew I didn't make some announcement by some kind, I could just put it off indefinitely. So I had to say something about it just so that I wouldn't put it off any longer. Miss Poppy 90 requested Enter the Dragon. FilmSpeak requested Paper Moon. Puckbond 007 requested Black Caesar and The Legend of Hell House. Xenu requested State of Siege and The Spook Who Sat by the Door. And 99 Filmo asked me to do Lucky Luciano, Oh Lucky Man, Sleeper, that's a Woody Allen film, Magnum Force, the Dirty Harry movie, and The Way We Were with Barbra Streisand and Robert Redford. And I've seen all those movies now, I just haven't made the videos on them, so that's something I need to do. I couldn't find a number of films, but I discovered a few of them. Lady Snowblood, The Spirit of the Beehive, Sex and Fury, and World on a Wire. I found a shop that actually carried these, so I'm going to be able to see them. However, there are a couple. The Offense with Sean Connery and She-Devils of the SS. I haven't been able to find either of those anywhere, so I may have to skip reviewing those. I apologize if you requested those. I think actually, I'm sorry, I don't remember who, I didn't write down who requested those, but there's a number here, obviously, that I'm yet to do, and I'm going to do them. I just need to take the time, and that's a little difficult sometimes. It's been very hot this summer, and it's always sort of uncomfortable for me to sit down and make a lot of videos when it's hot outside, because I don't want the fan to interfere with the sound. I have to have a fan blowing on me, like right next to me when I do that. But it's now September, it's cooling off a bit, so I'll be making those videos more. Of course, I've been doing a video every week for the Movie Reviewers 100, and I'm going to continue to do that for indefinitely, because I really like doing that. That's a great way to sort of keep, but again, it's only one video per week, so you know I need to increase the pace a little bit. A couple of other things I'm going to be doing on my channel. It's only September, but I'm already thinking ahead to next year. Before the year is over, we'll have new movies from the Coen Brothers and from David O. Russell. David O. Russell is doing American Hustle, and the Coen Brothers have Inside Llewyn Davis. And so next year, after I'm done with all the 1973 videos I'm going to be doing, I'm going to do 5 new director's series over the course of the year. First, I'll be knocking off David O. Russell and the Coen Brothers. I'll probably do the Coen Brothers first because they have a much longer filmography, so I'll get them over and done with. And then move on to David O. Russell. He's someone I've been impressed with more often than I realized, because I went back and looked, and there's one film of his that I haven't seen, and that's his first movie. And there's one other movie called I Love Huckabees, but every other movie that I've seen of his has been in like my top 10 every year that it's come out, which is great. So I'm going to be doing one for him and one for Joel and Ethan Coen after I see Inside Llewyn Davis. That's going to be once the new year starts. And next year, of course, we've got X-Men Days of Future Past, which is directed by Bryan Singer. So in the lead up to that, in the summer, I'll be talking about his filmography. And then next September, October, finally we'll see the new Sin City movie. Robert Rodriguez has kept us waiting a long time for this one. So I'll be doing a director's series on him. And possibly one more after that, but I haven't settled on a director for that. I'm not really sure what's going to be coming out next year. That's like a whole year from now. So I figured I've got a little time to settle on one to do for the last part of the year. And there might be 2, I don't know. But I'm only planning on doing a total of 5 next year, not 6 like I did with 2012. And I also thought it might be fun, since I'm such a big Joss Whedon fan, to do a weekly video on his new TV series. He has overseeing the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. series. He directed the pilot, which will be September 24th. It'll air every Tuesday, so if I can, every Wednesday I'll be talking about what I thought of each episode. And if I can do those all year long, that would be great. Of course, he won't be directing and writing all of them, but he's overseeing the show, so that's good enough for me. I'm very excited about that. And there's one other series I'm planning on working on in the latter part of the year, probably during the last 2 months, but I'm not ready to make any, give any more details on that just yet. It's going to be a different kind of series, not a review series, something a little different, which I hope you enjoy. So, pardon my spittle. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this update, and check the link below for Rambo Raph and his takedown of the RoboCop trailer. You know, this is the film in general, the new film, the new RoboCop. Bye guys, later.